So let us start with test of convergence of series of positive real numbers. Positive real numbers. So in this, I would like to today discuss about comparison test. Comparison test. So as per comparison test, suppose if say if summation un and bn, I mean are series of positive terms and suppose this series given by summation vn is convergent, and there is a positive constant say k such that un is less than equal to k times bn for every n, then the series un is also going to be convergent. So its proof is very easy. So let me discuss some of the proofs to have an idea of this comparison test. So before this, go through this definition. So if these un and vn are two series of positive terms, remember here I am discussing this one for series of positive terms, and if vn is convergent, this series is convergent, summation vn is convergent, and there is a positive constant case such that un is less than equal to k times vn for every n, then un has also to converge. So let me discuss here its proof. See, we have already studied in previous lectures that that a series is convergent if and only if its sequence of partial sum un is convergent. So suppose the partial sum of the series vn is this one given by u1 plus u2 plus un. We can use the notation small u, and on right one can use capital U just to differentiate it, and vn be the SOPs of say small v1 plus v2 . So these are, this one is SOPs of this series, and this one is sequence of partial sum of this one, nth partial sum. Now one can notice here that the term un, which is given by this u1 plus u2 plus u3 plus un. Let me write it clearly, otherwise it will create confusion. Small u1 plus u2 plus u3 un. Now one can write this, since see as per definition it's given that each of the un, if each of the un is bounded by vn for every n, then I can replace this un by its bound. Say u1 is bounded by kv1, u2 is bounded by kv2. So I can replace here I can write here this u1 using this relation. I can write ku1, sorry, kv1 plus k. Similarly, u2 using this relation, put n equal to here, we will get kv2 and so on. K times vn, or taking k common, I can write v1 plus v2 plus v3 plus vn, which is equal to basically k times vn. So from here, I can write that u1 is less than equal to k times vn for every n. So using the logic here that un is less than equal to k times vn for every n. In fact, here I need to denote it by small un v1, otherwise it will create confusion. And there is OPS sequence of partial sum by capital. So let me write here un such that un is less than equal to k times vn for every n. Yes. Yes. So now notice that un and vn are series of positive terms. un and vn are series of positive terms, and it's given that series vn is convergent. This one is given to us, that this series given by summation vn is convergent. So this implies that the sequence, we know that every convergent sequence is bounded. So this vn is convergent means the sequence of partial sum, the sequence of partial sum given right here given. This series vn is convergent, so the sequence of partial sum, say capital vn, is convergent and bounded. We have seen it's this one in earlier lectures, convergent and hence bounded, and hence bounded. So so I can write here that, let me go to next page. Now, so from, and also it's given that so since it's bounded, so this implies that there exists a positive number, say k naught. There exists a positive number, say k naught, such that this vn is less than k naught for every n, because vn, this sequence is bounded. And from this result that un is less than equal to k times vn for every n, using this result, one can write that un is less than equal to k times vn, and since each of the vn, since vn is less than k naught, because this sequence is bounded, so so I can write here is less than k times k naught using this one for every n. So since k is a real number, k naught is a real number, so in general I can say that un is, every member of the partial sum is bounded by this. One can call this k into k naught as k. Let me call it capital K. So un is less than k for every n, where capital K is equal to k into k naught. So this shows that un is also bounded. Sequence SOPS, sequence of partial sum, sequence of partial sum un is bounded above. And also we know that this one is a series of positive terms, so its SOPS will be monotonically increasing. So let me write here that also this summation un, in short we are writing here Right, summation un where n is equal to say 1 to infinity, or in short just write here this one summation un, write in this way, or say un or this. So since this one is a monotonically increasing sequence, monotonically increasing sequence which is bounded above, in fact let me write it clearly. Okay, since this being a series of positive terms, and if we look at since this one is series of positive terms, then the sequence of partial sum, this one is basically its sequence of partial sum. Partial sum is monotonically increasing, and this I have already shown earlier, monotonically increasing. Why it's monotonically increasing? Because see, this one is sequence of positive term, so u1 is going to be greater than 0, u2 is going to be greater than 0. Now look how u1 is defined, capital U1. Capital U1 is equal to small u1. Capital U2 is equal to u1 plus u2. Capital U3 is equal to u1 plus u2 plus u3, and so on. So clearly u3 is greater than u2 is greater than u1, and so on. So in this way we will get, because we are adding positive terms, so clearly this sequence u1 is monotonically increasing. And then by monotone convergence theorem, a sequence which is bounded and monotonically increasing has to converge. So this implies that this sequence u1 SOPS, sequence of partial sum, sequence of partial sum, say this u1 is convergent, and in fact this will imply that the series u1 is convergent. So from here we have the proof of this one. Now similar to it, one can prove there are several different interpretation of this one, but I'm not going to do all of. One can take all those as home assignment. Now let me write a statement, next statement of comparison test. So here next statement is, say if these two series given by summation un and so we write here small un and vn are series of positive terms and this one is divergent, and there is a positive constant, say k, such that u1 is greater than equal to k times vn for every n. Then this series un is also divergent, So proof is on the same pattern. If these two series of positive terms are given and suppose they are satisfying this relation, that each of the un is greater than or equal to k times vn for every n, then and if this series vn is divergent, then un has to diverge. So for the proof, we will use the same standard technique, that suppose un is equal to say u1 plus u2 plus un bits nth partial sum, and this vn is equal to v1 plus v2 plus v3. And this one is nth partial sum of the second series. So just look at here un. So one can write un as u1 plus u2 plus un. And since using this relation, u1 is greater than equal to u1 is greater than equal to k times v1. So let us replace this u1 by k times v1, k times v1. Plus similarly, let us replace v2 by k times v2 plus k times vn is equal to k times. So one can here it will be greater than equal to sign, and it can be written as k times v1 plus v2 plus v is equal to k times vn. So in general, we have observed, one can observe here that u1 will be greater than equal to k times vn for every n. Now since this series vn is divergent and this one is a series of positive terms, so this implies that it's SOPs, the sequence of partial sum, the sequence of partial sum, say capital Bn, is divergent. This implies that since this, see, each of the, we know that each of the sequence, I mean SOPs of whether this series sequence of partial sum of this series or this one, since both are series of positive terms, are both, so both will be monotonically increasing, and any monotonically increasing sequence bounded above is always convergent. So here, if this series is divergent, this means it's SOPs, sequence of partial sum, Vn is divergent, but this one is a series of positive terms, so it must be unbounded. Otherwise, by monotone convergence theorem, it is going to be bounded. So this implies that is unbounded. So unbounded, this I mean one can write it like this, that for each positive real number k naught, for each positive real number k naught, however large, there exists a positive integer m. There exists a positive integer such that one can write Vn is greater than this k naught. In fact, yes, there exists a positive real number k naught such that Vn is greater than k naught for every n greater than m. And using this relation, which we have proved using this one, one can write here that un, capital Un, is greater than equal to k times Vn is greater than k times k naught, because each of the Vn is greater than k naught. So in general, if I call k into k naught as capital K, so this implies that un is greater than fixed constant k for every n greater than m. This implies that the un is also unbounded. Un is unbounded. However, it is monotonically increasing. So this implies that the sequence un is the sequence of partial sum E capital Un is divergent, and hence the series is divergent. Divergent, hence the series is divergent. Now there are different versions of this one, but I'm not going to discuss all of them. Some other important interpretation which we will use during solving questions based on comparison test. So out of this, one is this important version is, let me write here, that suppose the series suppose the series be two positive term series. So here first one is that if limit of un by vn, if limit of un by vn, limit n tending to infinity, look at the limit, and if it is equal to 1, I mean finite and non-zero. Finite and non-zero, then both series converge or diverge together. Then the series un and the series vn both converge or diverge together. Second, if limit un by vn is equal to 0, where n tends to infinity, and this series given by vn converges, then this series will also converge. Series un also converge. C part, if limit n tends to infinity, un by vn is equal to infinity, and series vn diverges, then this series un also diverges, will also diverge. This one is an important result. We will use it during solving questions based on comparison test. So its proof is very easy. One can do it using epsilon delta technique. So let us look at its proof. This series UN and Vn be two positive term series. All these results, remember, all these results are for positive term series. So if let us take limit of their corresponding terms, I mean UN by Vn, UN by Vn. And if it is finite and non-zero, then both series will have same nature. I will discuss question based on this one, but before that, let us look at the proof first, and then we will see questions based on this result. This one is an important part of comparison test. So proof of first one. Proof of first one. See, since each of the UN, since the terms of both series are positive, so since UN is greater than 0 and Vn is greater than 0, obviously therefore UN by Vn is greater than 0. So therefore limit n tending to infinity UN upon Vn is greater than equal to 0. Now, but one can observe that as per condition, if limit is finite and non-zero, so let us assume that its limit, let us assume that the limit of UN by Vn is equal to L, some finite and non-zero quantity. Finite and non-zero quantity. Here limit means limit n tending to infinity. Finite and non-zero is means L is strictly greater than 0. So now recall the definition of convergence. If this sequence converges to L, then using epsilon delta method, this implies that whatever epsilon is given to us, there exists a positive integer in such that is UN upon Vn minus L is less than epsilon for every n greater than m, for every n greater than m or m naught, whatever notation we are using. Now if we simplify this, then I can write this one as L minus epsilon is less than UN upon Vn is less than L plus epsilon for every n greater than m, or in general one can write it as L minus epsilon because Vn is strictly greater than 0. So this one is defined. So I can write it as L minus epsilon into Vn is less than Un is less than L plus epsilon into Vn for every n greater than m. So one can observe here that this UN, I mean the nature of UN will depend on Vn because L is a fixed real number. Epsilon, for a given epsilon, this is going to be fixed. L plus epsilon is going to be a constant because both are real numbers. Sum of two real number is going to be a real number. So from here, one can discuss different cases. I mean, depending on, see, if we look at this one, let us look at this. So here, L minus epsilon times Vn is less than un for every n greater than m. Look at this part, L minus epsilon. This one is a real number, this one is a real number, so I can call L minus epsilon now one can use here the comparison test. See, I can write here from here that Vn is less than 1 upon L minus epsilon times un for every n greater than m. For every n greater than m. Now, since this series, I mean, see here, one can, since this is true for every epsilon, so I can choose epsilon greater than 0 such that L minus epsilon is also greater than 0, so that this inequality is maintained. Now, from here we can see that one can call this one as a k naught. So one can observe here that this Vn is bound, each of the terms of Vn is bounded by k times un. So since the series un is convergent, then by comparison test Vn has to converge. Then by comparison test, sorry, I am saying comparison test. Since this series is convergent, so its SOPS, sequence of partial sum, is going to converge. And from the previous result, which we have proved, yes, the first part of the comparison test, I can say that the series Vn is also convergent. So one can observe here that both series are behaving together. Now, from the second inequality, this one, so I can call it as case second, when in case first, this was the case when, actually this is the case when the series un is convergent. Now, second case when series un is divergent. So for that, use inequality 2, the second inequality. So look at the proof of this one. So from this result, say from star, L plus epsilon is L plus epsilon times Vn is greater than un. This quantity is greater than Vn. Now see, epsilon is greater than 0. Now choose. So yes, this inequality will be maintained here because L is greater than 0, epsilon is greater than 0, so there is no problem. L plus epsilon will be strictly greater than 0. And here we have used the condition that since it is true for every epsilon, so choose epsilon such that L minus epsilon is greater than 0. So inequality will be maintained. And again, you can use the first form of comparison test, which I have discussed earlier. So again, you can see that each of the member of the Vn of the series Vn is greater than un, or I can interpret it in this format: Vn is greater than 1 by L plus epsilon times un for every n greater than m. So one can call this one as say k naught or whatever notation you are using, because earlier I have called this one as k naught, so you can call it some other constant, say h naught. So again, by this format, the first one, okay, this one, comparison test, the first part is proved by this one using this, because we have obtained this inequality. The second part, second part, in the second part we are using this one, that second form of comparison test, that if un is if each of the un is greater than equal to k times vn, and if series vn is divergent, then series un has to diverge. So using this relation, now clearly I can write here, because we have vn times, if vn is greater than some h naught into un, where h naught is a fixed constant. So this implies that since series un is divergent, this implies vn is also divergent. Similarly, depending on this performance, I mean vn, third case when is convergent. This case when series vn is convergent, then from star I can write un is less than k, some constant, say k times vn. un is less than some constant k times vn. So if this series converges, then un has to converge, because again the same will be true for its sequence of partial sum. In fact, one can use here the logic. I'm going to call this one as L plus epsilon or H naught, whatever notation we are using. Since this one is convergent, so this is also going to converge. So the series, because it is true for every n greater than n. So the same will be applicable for its nth partial sum, sequence of nth partial sum, because each of the u1 is less than k v1, u2 is less than k v2. So obviously the second term u1 plus u2 will be less than k times v1 plus v2, and this is the second partial sum of the series un, and this one is the second partial sum of series v1. So in general, the same relation will be true between their SOPS, sequence of partial sum. So this is the reason why, if this is true, if series vn is convergent, this implies that series un is also going to be convergent. One more case, because this one is on un, this one is on un, this one is on vn, and one more case when vn is divergent, when series vn is divergent. So let me write it separately. So I can say that case fourth, when series vn is divergent, then what will happen? So from star again I can write from the equation, I can write un is greater than, you look at the, we need to compare between un and vn, because if vn is divergent, if series vn is divergent, then its SOPS will be unbounded, sequence of partial sum will be unbounded. So let us compare using this relation, un is greater than, and call this L minus epsilon as some constant, or one can write directly, keep it L minus epsilon, because L is a real number, epsilon is a real number, and choose epsilon such that L minus epsilon is going to be greater than 0, because it is holding for every epsilon. So it will also hold for all those epsilons such that if when L minus epsilon is greater than 0. So I can write here that un greater than L minus epsilon vn, un greater than L minus epsilon times vn. Now choose epsilon greater than 0 such that L minus epsilon is greater than 0. So from here you can see that since un is greater than some k times, you can call so k times Vn, and Vn is divergent. So now if you look at u1 greater than L minus epsilon times V1, u2 greater than L minus epsilon times V2. Now, what will be their sequence of partial sum? Second term, u1 plus u2 will be greater than, take L minus epsilon common, and we have v1 plus v2. So what we are getting that this is also true in terms of their members of sequence of partial sum. So if this one is unbounded, then sequence of partial sum of the series un is also going to be unbounded. And any unbounded series which is monotonically increasing has to diverge. So this is the reason why since this implies that series un is also divergent, One can also do it in other way. And second, okay, let me explain. Let me complete first B part, and then I will explain some other way. So if look at the B part claims that if limit un upon Vn is 0, then what? Just use the epsilon delta definition of limit. See, if limit of this, then recall the epsilon delta definition of limit. So as per definition, I can write that whatever epsilon is given to us, because it is true for every epsilon, there must exist a positive integer, a natural number m, such that un upon Bn minus 0 is less than epsilon for every n greater than n. So if we expand it, this will be minus epsilon less than un upon Vn. Each of the term is positive. Un is positive here, so the ratio is going to be positive for every n greater than m. So from here I can write that un, because I need to show comparison between un and Vn. So okay, let me write here minus epsilon times Vn is less than un is less than epsilon times Vn for every n greater than m. Now look at this one. We are comparing un with Vn. Again, we have the first format by the first form of comparison test. If for every n greater than m, un is less than epsilon times Vn, then the same relation will be true between their SOPS, sequence of partial sum. So from here I can say that since series Bn is convergent, this implies series un is also convergent. Similarly, one can do the last part. Let me also explain this. The last part C, that if limit n tends to infinity, un upon Bn is equal to infinity, then if series Vn is divergent, then series un is also divergent. So the infinity means this one is unbounded. So just recall the definition of unbounded, that whatever m is given to us, I can always find m such that un by Vn is greater than that real number. So this implies that given m greater than 0, whatever real number greater than 0 is given to us, there always exists a positive integer, say m such that un by vn is greater than, small un by vn greater than m, or every n greater than n, because both are positive. So there must exist a positive m, a positive integer for which this ratio is going to exceed this the given real number. Basically, this one is the definition of unbounded. So from here, one can write un is greater than m times vn. Now again use the comparison test first second format for every n greater than m. That if this one is unbounded, then its SOPS will be unbounded, and SOP, a sequence of partial sum of the series un is also going to be unbounded. So this implies that since Pn is divergent, this implies un is also divergent. Or in other words, one can also interpret this result in short that so now let us do some example based on this one. That as per result second, if you recall the result second, that this one first result of the third one, that if two series are given to us, and let us take the limit of their nth term, and if it is finite and non-zero, if it is finite, then the nature of both series will be same. I mean, if un is convergent, then series un is convergent. Sorry, if un is convergent, then as a series summation, series u1 is convergent, then vn will series v1 will also converge, and if series u1 is vn is convergent, so nature of both will be alike. For example, actually this result is that, so that series u1 and series vn, and here remember that both are series of positive terms, are series of positive terms. Positive terms, here terms stand for real numbers, positive real numbers, and limit of u1 by vn is some real number which is non-zero, then both will behave, then un and series vn converge or diverge together. So based on this result, so let us do some examples based on this result. So one of the, let me explain this one. So some examples one can consider. Let us take un is equal to sine 1 by n, and vn is equal to one can take 1 by n. Now look at, suppose this series is given, we need to compare sine 1 by n and 1 by n, series 1 by sine 1 by n and series 1 by n. Suppose these two series are given to us. Now look at the ratio of these two terms, and you can see that I need to check the series. Okay. Actually, I need to make sure that each of the terms is positive or not. So sine 1 by n. N will start from 1, 1, 2, 3. So in between 0 to 1. Yes, no problem. Each of the term will remain positive. Now we can apply, because these two are series of positive real numbers. series of positive real numbers. So I can apply comparison test. Now look at the limit of un by vn. Un by vn where n tends to infinity. So basically this one is limit n tending to infinity un upon vn. Sine 1 by n upon 1 by n. So it is equal to 1. So again, it is its limit is non-zero and finite quantity. So this implies that both series will behave together. And since this one is well-known series, that this diverges. In earlier lectures, I have discussed why it is divergent. Look at its sequence of nth partial sum. This is not bounded. Or you can use that method, Cauchy's criteria. You can show that this its nth partial sum is not Cauchy. Nth partial sum, not 1 by n. Its nth partial sum is not Cauchy. So since this series is nature of this series is known, and the ratio of the terms un by vn, the limit of the ratio is 1, which is non-zero and finite. So sine 1 by n will also diverge. So as a series, sine 1 by n is divergent as this 1 by n is divergent. So here, first of all, before applying this step, you have to make that whether both series are both given series are series of positive terms or not. So you can see, put n equal to 1, you will get sine 1 by 2, sine 1 by 3, and all of them are in is taking values, non-negative values. So one can apply this test. Let us discuss another question. What about this one? Series cos 1 by n square. Is it convergent? So one can compare it by some known series. But before that, one need to apply the necessary condition for convergence. And if you recall the necessary condition for convergence, in my earlier lecture, I have discussed necessary condition for convergence. What was the necessary condition for convergence? Is that see, this is already true that if series is convergent, then limit of n is going to be 0. But its converse need not be true. But if limit of n is not equal to 0, then series will not converge. So first of all, if its limit is 0, then it may or may not converge. Look at summation 1 by n and summation 1 by n square. Both limit of both the nth term is tending to 0, but this one is divergent. This one is divergent, and this one is convergent. But in this case, what is happening that when n tends to infinity, look at the limit of the nth term first. Here I can call an is equal to cos 1 by n square. So first of all, you need to check limit. So limit of this sequence, limit of this nth term cos 1 by n square is 1, which is not equal to 0. Not equal to 0. So this implies that we don't need to check further because its limit is not convergent because it is not fulfilling the necessary condition for convergence. So I can directly say that the series is not convergent. That as a series cos 1 by n square is not convergent. Not satisfying necessary condition. Here basically this P implies Q. So negation of Q implies negation of statement P. So not satisfying, not fulfilling. The reason one can write here not fulfilling necessary condition. Because first of all, you have to check that whether limit of nth term is 0 or not. If it is 0, then we will further apply for other test. Series may or may not converge, but if it is not fulfilling the necessary condition for convergence, then one can directly discard from there. Next example. What about sine 1 by n square? Sine 1 by n square. So one can compare. See, we already know the nature of this one. This one is convergent. So I can either one can use the expansion. If we expand sine 1 by n square, then you can see that the first dominating term is 1 by n square. So one can choose another series of that term and apply comparison test. Limit sine 1 by n square upon 1 by n square. So one can check that 1 by n square tending to 0. So sine theta by theta, its limit is going to be 1. So their nature will be alike. And since this one is convergent, so this implies that series sine 1 by n square is convergent as series 1 by n square is convergent. So this one is a very good test comparison. So in next lecture, I will discuss question based on comparison test. And then after that, I will move to this alternating series. And some result in which I will discuss basically telescopic series. Before alternating series, I will discuss telescopic series. And then in alternating series, basically Leibniz test, one of the important tests. Then I will move to conditional convergence and absolute convergence. And then I will recall the statement of Riemann about convergence. So let me stop here. In next lecture, I will discuss that.